Weston.
Yeah, here we go again. Thank you for joining us and listening to Bill and Teona Wine About the Region, where we talk about government and the politics behind it, nonprofit and the people behind it, business and the money behind it. Let's go T.
Thank you for tuning in to hear Bill and Teona Wine About the Region. If you have ideas or topics or people to interview for the show or interested in advertising or sponsoring the show, message us at Facebook at BT Winery or email us at btwinery@gmail.com.
All right. Now, we have a cool show planned for today. But let's first talk about a little bit about what we're going to be doing next week.
Okay,
and I'm still lining up the show.
I ain't gonna be here.
I know she's not going to be here, so we're going to have our second honorary guest host, right? So we'll get to that in a second.
Those who started off with us before we were on the radio, we really, really respect them.
We'll miss you next week, but we're gonna hold it down for you. But next week we're gonna talk specifically around issues of activism. Like, how do you get involved in things to help motivate and improve your community? So that we'll have representatives, I believe, from a couple of different organizations to talk about how you get yourself involved. And
cool.
we want people to start.
Bill is the producer. I just kind of put her in there and fuss at him when I feel like he ain't listening to me. But you are a great producer. You put these things together, don't you?
You don't stop
so we special guest, our special co-host is Rita Days. So Rita Days will be taking my place
Rita.
next week. I told her she got to be funny.
Yeah.
Because I believe that I bring the fun part to the show.
Oh, you say I ain't no fun?
Well,
what type of stuff is that?
Well, you just kind of. Everybody says it. You bring me back. Every time I turn up a little bit, you turn me down, and so so she's got to bring a little bit of fun. So if she's not fun, y'all make her. We want our viewers to make her be fun next week.
All right.
All right. Shout out to Pascal, who's on.
Pascal.
Who's on? He's our family, right?
Yeah, we family
He's
now.
our family. He's on from 9 a.m. to 12 noon.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday. And also, shout out to me tonight.
I am having
why we
Scorpio
shutdown at Elmo's. We have 10 separate parties up under Team Teona. These are people that they always help me. I grew up in Berkeley, Kinlock area, and I grew up with a lot of other Scorpio friends. So we're all getting together. There's 10 different parties going on at Elmo's tonight.
All right.
And so if you're in the area, stop by. Say happy birthday to me.
Okay, just watch your drinks.
Next week is my birthday though, Friday, but I'll be off
drinks. Don't let
in
nobody
the
be messing
wind.
with your drinks.
Yeah, I'll be off in the wind next week. Nobody will know where I am. Right. So we're gonna get started celebrating this week.
All right. So what are we talking about today? What's the topic today?
Talking about gun violence.
Now, and this was your idea to get into this, and I was like, okay, let's do it. Who you got?
You didn't think my people. You didn't think it was gonna come together.
I knew you was gonna have I'm glad you went and picked everybody up. That's all.
You be true. Well, I had to, but I didn't pick everybody up. We've got our attorney here who came where you I don't know him. Are you sure, Teona? I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Stop doubting me.
Ain't nobody doubting
you. The best criminal lawyer is sitting here this morning. Even though he ain't even been doing it that long, he's the best, and I'm standing on it.
All right, well, I'm going to tell you this. If I doubted you, I wouldn't be sitting right here next to you. All right? So, check yourself.
All right. I'll take that.
All right.
All right.
Now, we want to go ahead and thank Paul Berry and the good folks over here at WGNU 920 AM for giving us the opportunity to talk to the community that we all here care about. Now, we got my man Quentin helping us out behind the boards.
That's always laughing at us around over there. He always laughing at us.
All right, so today we have a few people here. Of course, we're talking about, like Teona said, around gun violence. We have the Honorable Ella Jones.
Thank you for joining us, Ella. Ella in the house. Ella got up early the other Saturday for me, which she probably gets up early anyway, because Ella's always everywhere.
Yes, she is.
We're just blessed that she graced us with her presence.
And Ella is a Ferguson councilwoman. I believe she has some plans for next year, so we'll get into that a little bit later. We also have Jonathan Savage, a partner at the Savage Law Group, and that's your company, right?
That's
correct.
Okay.
Owner.
We'll have him coming on talking about some of the legal ramifications as a result of gun violence. But first up, we have two young men from the community that Teona is familiar with, and I'll let her explain the relationship. We have Camren Arnold and Shelvin Wesley. You want to talk about your relationship?
Guys.
Good morning.
Shelvin is my little brother. My mother had 3 kids, and all of us are 13 years apart.
Yes,
Me and my sister are both, we're born 2 days apart, which that's a bummer, but you know, as I got older, I've gotten over it, that I have a little sister who my mom brought home on my birthday. And then we have a little brother. My mom always wanted a boy. So after she had him, all of us just was basically didn't exist anymore. And we called him Baby Shelvin up until the point where now I'm looking up at him like,
hey, Baby Shelvin. How you doing, Baby Shelvin?
So we got Baby Shelvin in the house. And then we have Camren, who they both went to St. Martin's. And so they made friends in what grade were you in? Like the infant room or something?
It's been a long time.
They've been friends for a long time. We also have my son, Alphonse, sitting back here in the back who, thank you for waking up this morning, Al. Alphonse.
Well, about this long time friendship, let me ask you this real quick. Have y'all ever fought over, a girl or something like that? I mean, have y'all had beef with each other from time to time or anything?
No, not at all. Nothing like that. Like, anytime we do argue, it be over, like, typical, like, man stuff, LeBron James better than Kobe.
Okay.
It wasn't nothing too, we'll never, like, allow ourselves to, like, to get too serious with each other because we know at the end of the day we still
brothers.
Friends.
Great, and that's rare. That's rare. Okay. So we're going to start with you, Shelvin.
Mm-hmm.
Was there some hesitation for you to come on the show today and do this about gun violence? Did you feel some type of way like, I don't really, did you care what your peers would think for you to be on here really just putting it out there?
Not too much. Not too much because anything I do is based off decisions I make in my life. So
Great.
Anything I do, it has something to do with me. But no, I didn't feel no type of way coming up here.
Okay, good.
Because sometimes I like to speak, on certain stuff, especially stuff that matters, So.
All right.
Now, what about you? Actually, I'd be interested. What about you, Cam?
Well, actually, I was
I
excited.
mean, because peer pressure is a son of a gun.
I actually was excited because this is topics that we need to talk about. It's not talked about enough in our age range, and I just feel like a lot of people don't care. I do. A lot of stuff needs to change, and a lot of stuff needs to be recognized and talked about. So I was actually excited to come on the show and talk about this type of stuff.
And I think a lot of them, Bill, that's why I told you, I'm sick of going and there's politicians in the room and they talking about gun violence. And with my run in 2020, these guys are they've been very helpful. They've probably knocked over 5,000 doors for me since I've been trying to get the seat. And so they're so good on the doors. They show so well. And I don't want to keep talking to politicians about how to stop gun violence. I want to go in the heart of the situation. The guys, their friends, and different ones that's doing it, and talk to them and ask them. So I appreciate them coming on here. Let me ask you guys, why do you feel, and this will just kind of be general questions when we ask both of y'all, you can get in where you like. Why do you feel your generation has turned to guns over just having a fair and square fight like back in the day?
Yeah, and just knuckle up. Why we gotta shoot each other?
Why?
I think it's about being scared. Like a lot of them, and then a lot of them don't have a lot of love in their household. Like the parents don't show them a lot of love, so they turn to the streets. And
you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do agree.
Okay.
Because like sometimes us as teenagers, some of us can't fight. Like some of us
No, that's right.
And you don't want to get out of the street, get your
nobody
butt
get
whooped.
ready to play around. So it's easier to
being
just pick up a gun and just shoot somebody.
I mean, because you got some people in the world that weigh like 120, skinny, so of course they first suggestion is gonna be pick up a gun, especially if a person bigger than them. But
I just think you win some, you lose some. It shouldn't affect your daily life.
Back in the day, they definitely, there was some gun violence in the 90s and stuff too, but people used to fight. Like
see,
to the blood, your nose was bloody.
They
You
so
ever had a fight, Bill?
Yeah.
I know that's right. I probably had one or two, maybe. One was with a
I
white
had a
girl.
couple, yeah.
Okay.
And I was good enough that I never had to fight again.
Good, you go big.
I had to teach them something. But you know what? What I don't understand, and it just always gets me, is sort of the glorification of especially young folks that jump on Facebook and social media with guns and they might have a stack of cash. It might be the only cash they got, but they want you to know they got something. Like all that. I do not understand. So what's that about? Like why do teens do that kind of thing? Or why do young folks do that kind of thing?
Well, first off, we are heavily us as black men. We are heavily influenced on rap, hip hop, and most of that you see in hip hop. And like when we look at hip hop, we look at stuff like that cool because of course they have girls name videos, cars, stuff like that. It brings a lot of attention that men want.
Mm-hmm.
So when they see that like they want to live that type of lifestyle. It can be a person that hasn't lived a lifestyle like that at all. And he'll see a rapper doing it just to see like what he has in his videos, stuff like that. He'll start doing it and start imitating it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us getting killed because of that. Because some of us try to pick the bad things to do instead of the good things to do. There's a lot of rappers that do good things, but us as teenagers, we choose the bad things. I don't know why. It's just
It's easier to probably mimic the bad. You agree with that?
Oh yeah. I think touching on what he said, not just the rappers, is they glorify it because a lot of females in our generation like that type of stuff. You know, they think it's cool. They think it's cute. You know,
it helps them
like the bad boy.
basically
You know,
get them in the bedroom to brag like they about their life, but they're not.
Right.
Wow. Okay, guys, thanks.
Yeah.
In society, does having a gun make you popular or give you clout?
To a certain crowd, like.
Okay.
to a certain crowd, right?
These, like I said, the females and a lot of our generation of men do a lot of that stuff for women.
All right. Well, let's circle back to that. I think we're gonna go ahead and get to a break real quick, and we'll get right back into that. Thank you for joining us, Bill and Teona, Wine About the Region, WGNU 920 AM. We'll be right back.
We'll be back.
So, young men now, they do things to impress women with it because they have a gun. When I was coming along, you had a job, and you could take me to the movie.
That's how it should be.
Or you borrow your parents' car.
These women are something different though now. These girls, they got the guns. Shoot, the girls be having guns and stuff too.
Baby Shelvin.
I love it. I'm having everybody call you that. We do, we call her. And so I'm liking this little look today. Like I'm telling you, it's official now that you got this, you know. But how we gonna get those pictures? Are we gonna be able to?
I'm gonna send y'all these later on.
Okay. It looks easy.
They're gonna look a whole lot better too. So I'm gonna.
Okay.
But I need footage so I can get you all intro together for your
Footage
Facebook page.
I don't want to do no footage with this red hair though. I'd
Oh,
rather
well.
when I go back to my, this just a
Okay,
fun
so
look.
don't put this.
Nah, let's do it next time.
But no, I got enough then on the.
Yeah, let's do it. But I'll just try to have some fun. I'll be back to Teona after this. So you want to go back to the clout?
Yes.
Okay, and kind of elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah. We had to kind of cut it off a little bit because we was getting a little far into.
And it's okay if we get through it like quicker because. Like they're a little part quicker because then we can put more time into Ella and Jonathan. And she just asked him an interesting question. So if you could mention that when you up about how women need to, they used to want to go to the, you know. I think go to the movie. I think that's good. I think that'll be it.
For information about the National Library Service for the blind and physically handicapped library of Congress, visit loc.gov/that all may read.
Okay. We are back.
We're back.
Or we're not back. We're back.
We are back.
We are back. I want to go back to the question that I was talking about before we went to break. In society, does having a gun make you popular or give you clout? That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, is it a clout thing? Is it? I mean, like I said earlier, that peer pressure thing, that it's tough. And I mean, y'all grow up. I mean, the funny thing is that with each generation, y'all have we recognize you have a new set of issues. Like how y'all growing up is nothing like how me and Teona grew up at all. It's a whole
There
different
was
world.
some gangs in the 90s though, because I used to think I was a blood for real, but yeah, but I mean, it wasn't nothing like, my thing was acceptance, and I had a disability, and it was cooler for me to say, oh yeah, my leg was shot off, I'm a blood. So as people, once they do it, it was like, wait a minute, that ain't how shit, you know, but you know, when you have a disability, you know, you try to fit, things like that. So of course, once I started really, it's people that even tease me about that now that I'm in politics and try to be like, yeah, you know, but I'm never ashamed for where I came from.
You should
never
be.
ashamed from where I came from.
All right, well, let's get back to the guest. Is it
right.
a clout thing? Is it clout? Is it about, you know, I got to be the biggest, baddest dude on the block? They got to know.
I definitely.
They need to run.
It's not. I guess you can say it's a clout thing, but you gotta understand that we are still young, like we are teenagers, so we still have testosterone inside our body. Like I say, like the average man don't really like calm down and like, you know, settle down like when he turn like 29 or like 30.
Okay.
Some of them,
I'm not a bruh.
some of them still don't. But like, I understand, like, some people have guns because they want protection, because we do live in a world, like, this world is not nice at all.
Yeah.
Like, every time when you step out your house, like, you like, it's like, it's kind of like you, like, walking inside a world that's kind of like, that's kind of like wanting to, like, kill you type stuff. If you get what I'm saying,
Yeah,
because this world is dangerous.
It's a mean world.
It is, and some people do have guns for protection. Some of them, I feel like us as teenagers, like we have guns just to look cool, just to be like rappers, and like, you know, stuff like that. But some people have guns for protection though.
Okay, well, how do you think like what I would call the drug culture influences, you know, what young people do? I mean, you got, you know, obviously in hip hop, there's a lot of, you know, and it's different than it was in the, you know, 90s, in the 2000s or whatever. They glorified a drug culture, talking about, I mean, it used to be just, you know, marijuana, weed, and that kind of thing, but now folks talking about, you know, all kind of Percocets and popping pills and lean and this and that, and it's like, really? Are we really going to represent this to our young people?
Exactly, like heavy drugs like that, like that's like those are the type of things that can kind of like, they can mess up your body for real. Like lean, Percocets and all that. Like all those is what I consider as heavy drugs, like crack. Me personally, and I'm just speaking from my opinion, my perspective, I certainly don't think there's nothing wrong with smoking. It's like, because you have some people that don't smoke weed at all. But as far as like heavy drugs like Percocets and like lean and stuff, I feel like that's going a little too overboard. You know?
Makes you a little non-functional.
You know, yeah, like that stuff can really like lean. I heard lean can like really mess up your liver. Like it can
give you withdrawals. People that then got off of lean and stomach be messed up and can't sleep at night and crying and very emotional.
So you're saying it's much more the after effect, the problems of trying to do those drugs and just outright smoking marijuana. We talked about that on another show with Contessa about just trying to legalize it, because that's how I feel. Like if Missouri legalized it, I felt like it would cut down on the crimes that people are trying to those drugs that you guys are saying mess them up. Like, I feel like you legalize marijuana, they can go to that, and it's a lot safer than these. Like, there's so many at the corner of West Florissant and Chambers. There's so many accidents there from people that fell asleep from that.
Right,
you know, and I go to the meetings. That's what they're talking about. So, you got an interesting point.
And I always tell people like, when you do when they do decide to legalize like marijuana or anything like that, like I always say, like, you still want to, like me personally, like I say grow your own. And like see with me is, if I was the type of person to like do those type of things, like I'll try to like open up like a cannabis, like, you know, like a cannabis,
make
like
money
shop,
from
make
it, so
money
you ain't
from it,
spending from it.
you know,
Okay.
Just
like
farm with it.
yeah, because people don't know, like the government is wicked, and I came on this talk show to speak my mind and be real, you know, and the government is wicked. So if they,
Ella, you listening?
I hear every word he is saying.
so if they,
I'm digesting it.
if they like people gotta think about this, man, like, cause like us as black people, we don't think things through all the way. Like, we just think of one thing. We simple minded in some other way. I'm not here to talk down on my people. I mean, I'm just going by what I see.
Okay.
So like,
Learn to read between the lines.
yeah, and so like when I say like, if they simply putting chemicals inside food, poison our food and stuff like that, what makes you think they not gonna do nothing to the weed that's gonna legalize? Like,
That's
they
been
making
legal
money
for
from it.
years.
Like, they making money from it.
So what keeps you guys so positive? I mean, that we've heard you speak a little bit this morning, and like you've gotten on her like, hey, bruh, like some of the young people that I'm around and things. So what keeps you guys so positive?
I can tell they're positive because, you know what? First off, like, you know, even getting here early in the morning on a Saturday,
Right.
I appreciate it. I mean, you know,
Right,
that shows
it
me
was
that
up.
you're
When I got to them,
interested. Yeah, what keeps you so positive? How do you stay positive, and how do you push aside the negativity?
It's trust and believe. It's very hard to push away the negativity, especially in your environment. But I just try to keep my positivity by just knowing and keeping in my mind that things are gonna get better. You gotta know, you gotta speak it into existence that things are gonna get better, and that's what got me up this early in the morning to talk about these things, because in order for it to get better, you have to make an effort towards it. You can't just always just sit around and complain about it, and you have to talk about it and recognize the issue. You know?
Well, you bring up an interesting point, Camren. You went away to college, and everybody, we all celebrated, bought you stuff. Oh, Camren's going to college. What happened? Tell us a little bit what happened when you got there. And you know, you can cut it down probably like a minute if you need a minute to tell us. But
well, first, I'm going to say is college definitely isn't for everybody. I went in and, you know, I went in with a good mindset, and I started to, my depression and my anxiety started to come back. And it wasn't just like a small thing. It was very big, to the point where I got history of migraines and depression and being in the hospital for weeks. And it just became a bad thing for me. And me, I'm an independent person. So I just had a thought in my mind, like, I can chase my dreams doing it on my own. It might be harder, but hey, I decided to chase my dreams on my own and take my own route doing it.
you made an executive decision just to say, you know, that wasn't for you.
Right.
And you still believe in your heart that you can still be successful,
Right.
because you're working, you're doing great things now. So I mean, I guess you know what you. I mean, that was huge. I'm sure you was worried about your mom and how she would feel,
Most
but
definitely.
you know, you made the decision. All right, okay. So, and then we'll, you know, kind of elaborate on how does the company you keep play part in gun violence, and also about single parent households. Can you guys touch on those two things for us real quick?
As far as what the company I keep,
The company you keep
Okay.
as far as gun violence, is it like, you know, peer pressure with that?
Mhm.
And then single homes, like if mom's working all the times, might not be a father in the home, like.
Actually, I think like the company you keep part. Like, How do you think that figures into either getting you into trouble or keeping you out of trouble?
I mean,
have you ever looked at like find yourself in a bad situation and you was like, I knew I shouldn't have been with this dude. I knew I shouldn't have taken him with me.
Shoot, I've definitely been in some situations like that myself, and back in the day. So I'm sure you do.
But like, even when I was in school, like I used to hang with a lot of people like in school. But at the end of the day, I knew who was my real friends. Like anybody I communicated with in school, I did not hang out with like at my house, or I asked them to come over. Like anytime I see somebody that I used to talk to from my school, like it'll be like through walking to like a store or something like that. Cause like I do believe in like, you know, the company you keep, like it can reflect on you. It really can. Cause like if you hanging around somebody that's really like into like, you know, into like doing like things that you're not into doing, like one day you might be in trouble, or one day you might.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, wrong place at the wrong time.
And before we cut to our break, so we can bring our new guests on when we come back, is it important for fathers to be in their son's life, and could that help cut down on the gun violence?
Most definitely is important for a father to stay in his kid's life. I honestly think it would cut down on gun violence because a son or a daughter need that fatherly love just as much as they need their motherly love.
All right.
It's a balance.
All right. Well, we gonna go to break then, real quick, and we will be back. Thank you for tuning in to Bill and Teona Wine About the Region, WGNU 920 AM.
All right, guys, that was good. You guys can switch it up now. Hey.
Now you taking my questions?
Bill, we needed to cut to the break. Okay, sorry.
I was about to.
I'm sorry.
Cut to the break.
You take one of my questions.
No. But I put them in certain places for certain reasons. Like, I mean, the questions about fathers important. That's the question a man should be asking instead of you. I mean,
I'm sorry. My bad.
That was a reason.
All I'm saying is, heck, I've been needing the father in my household. So, no, I'm just. I just took over. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
As far as breaks are concerned, let me handle breaks. You just be full steam ahead, Teona.
Okay.
Let me kind of handle like. You know, and if you get a break, I'll let you know.
Don't get cut me out. I'll be scared y'all gonna cut me out.
No.
Okay.
No, you just keep
wait.
going. I mean, we have some wiggle room. We have some wiggle room. So we don't need to like say, you know, we 3 minutes out from a break. Oh, we're gonna have to go to a break here. So let me say that.
Should we switch them around now? Since next is Jonathan and Ella, should we switch them while we're in the break? Should they switch seats now?
Well, is there anything else that y'all want to say? How about that? Let's give them a sort of a last
closing. Okay.
Yeah,
anything y'all
kind
want to
of open the
close
floor.
with
Anything y'all want to
before y'all get up?
you know, talking to other young people, and that's okay. I mean, don't tell us now.
Yeah, we saying we back on the earth.
I was trying to ask you, like, how much time do you like have here? Like,
you're almost done.
Yeah,
we gonna
okay.
We gonna give you that.
Cause I said I can talk all day. I really can.
All right, but take like a minute, 2 minutes, something like that. You know.
That's a good idea.
And then we'll give them
just to kind of drop the mic type of moment.
Yeah.
Anybody watching y'all, seeing y'all for the first time, what do y'all want to leave them with? You know?
Right.
I can shout out my YouTube channel.
Yes, you can definitely shout out to your YouTube channel. Shelvin, you could talk about your clothing line. Don't do that.
Well, I ain't, you know what I'm saying? Well, I don't
Security.
have to start it yet. Like.
Security.
All right, we are back. We are back, and we still have here with us Camren Arnold and Shelvin Wesley here talking to our young people about issues around gun violence. I mean, we're going to close out with you guys for here in a second, but we wanted to give you a chance to get anything off your chest. Like if you wanted to, if you could speak to, you know, young people, or if you could speak to the younger version of you. You know, I don't know if you have anything you want to throw in there, T, but I just wanted to kind of open the floor to you guys.
I just want to say, us as young people in my age group or older or younger, don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't ever be afraid to be yourself. Be yourself all the time. Don't worry about what another person got to say about you. If you different in any type of way, embrace that and be different, because different stands out. We were put on this earth to all be different. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to close it out by telling people to check out my YouTube channel.
Oh, there.
It is.
Shameless plug.
It's Cam Lamar, CAMRLAMAR. If you
like them on Instagram, guys.
I talk about a lot of stuff. I do rants. I do funny comedy skits. If you want to get a laugh in.
You trying to be a YouTuber?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Tastemaker.
Shelvin, what you gotta say?
I wanna say this. I wanna tell.
Nas.
I wanna tell people that understand this world. Everything that's going on in this world it was already planned out to be. It's all an agenda. So what I'm trying to say is that live your life how you want to live it. Don't look at somebody else's success and try to imitate somebody else's success, because everybody don't have the same story. Mm-hmm. So I just want to say just be yourself, because most of the people we look up to as teenagers are rappers, and half of the time rappers are not happy. Mm-hmm. Because of course they signed a deal. Yeah, you see them with a lot of money. They not happy on the inside. Mm-hmm. Because of what they do to get that money. A lot of people don't know what they do to get that money. Wow. You know, right. And a lot of them not gonna speak on it because they will be gone. Now you have brought up about the whole activist thing, and all of our activists, let me ask you something.
Don't go there, though. Yeah, go to Malcolm X songs, bro. We gonna go ahead and he's a Malcolm X bill. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and bring up our next guest, guys. Thank you.
Let's get these
yes. Okay. Thank you, guys. We're going to bring up Bill.
All right, we are going to bring in our next guest. That can address maybe some of the legal ramifications around gun violence. And his name is Jonathan Savage of the Savage Law Group. So come on up, Jonathan.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Get in here.
Jonathan is my boss, everyone. I do traffic for Jonathan. Thank you for joining us.
All right, so Jonathan, you are an attorney. Tell us what you do in your practice and how gun violence figures into the work that you do.
Yeah, most definitely. So, I handle mostly civil litigation and criminal aspects of law. And what that means is, let me give you an example. For civil litigation, I sue a lot of people. Recently, I've sued some of the local clubs here, unfortunately, in St. Louis. And how that factors into gun violence is that a few of my clients had been shot outside of the club itself. A lot of people don't understand that the establishment is essentially liable for that gun violence that may happen on their premise, and that is called premise liability. And the criminal ramification, obviously a lot of my clients, unfortunately, are caught up in this system. They've been charged with possession of controlled substance, and as a result of the controlled substance, they may have a firearm. And that firearm, it's automatic felony charge when you have any type of illegal drugs on you or anything like that.
Okay. All right, Jonathan, how often do you handle a gun case where the individual gets to retain their weapon back?
It's far and in between.
Everybody want their gun back now. That's the most fun. When I will get my gun back? It's
Well, the gun is probably hot anyway, so unfortunately you can forget about that. But if you do carry a legal gun, obviously should those charges be dropped, or if you found not guilty in whether it's a bench trial or a jury trial, you will be able to petition to get your gun back. Okay. Unfortunately, 99% of the times, the individuals that I work with, sometimes they may take a plea deal. As a result of that, that's a guilty plea. You can no longer retrieve your gun back. So it's unfortunate.
Okay. So just expand on how you feel about the current gun laws in the state of Missouri. I mean, there's been a lot of changes over recent years, conceal and carry, and you don't have to have a license. Basically, it's the Wild West. It seems like.
So what's your point of view, John?
Right. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a supporter of the new gun laws. I'm obviously an attorney, and I believe in the Constitution wholeheartedly. And as a result of that, I carry. I can still carry. I have a few firearms myself. So as far as the new guns law, I think if you do it right, you have to be responsible. Obviously I took classes, to educate myself on how to properly use a firearm. I think you have to take the necessary steps. You don't hop on a motorcycle and say, I'm gonna drive this across country unless you first practice how to drive a motorcycle, because it's a different kind of aspect. So a lot of these young guys, unfortunately, grab a firearm, next thing you know, they shoot themselves in the leg, or, they do X, Y, and Z because they don't know how to handle the firearm properly. And it's a deadly weapon. Yeah. It kills.
How does the courts look at youth who put their drugs and guns on Facebook?
Yeah, we just talked about
right.
this.
I think that question answers itself. Obviously the courts do not. I think anyone should frown upon anyone who glorifies guns coupled with violence, coupled with drugs, or anything of that nature. So the courts, the first thing I do when I get a client, let me use myself as an example. I go to Facebook. I tell them, hey, if I see anything on there, shut it down. Right. Shut your Instagram down. Shut it all down. Because I'm telling you, as soon as I'm talking to you about it, you can bet your bottom dollar that the prosecutor is on Facebook, pulling up your pictures, pulling up your profiles, everything.
Facebook is a part of court now.
Yeah, and they use it. You see it all the time. They use it. This is you holding a firearm, and that's very unfavorable to a jury. No one wants to see that. So the courts, they don't have really a say into it. They can't tell you not to do it. They cannot, tell you not to do it. But obviously, as an attorney, I tell my clients definitely do not, boast about drugs, guns, anything like that on Facebook.
That's like, wow. I don't understand. I mean, not that I'm encouraging, illegal behavior, but I don't understand why you snitch on yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
People are a lot more out forward with things nowadays. How can parents help reduce gun violence in society?
I think, I have a loving mother and father. Shout out to mom and dad.
There you go.
I'm married 47 years. If they're listening, they probably sleep.
Did you tell them it's going to be on the radio?
Yeah, I told them.
They're like, yeah, whatever.
We'll look at it later.
They old, so they sleep a lot, you know what I'm saying? But in any regards, I think, I think it all roots to the family structure, so, and that goes with everything. Yeah, like the young man was talking about earlier. I think everything is rooted and deeply rooted in a family. And without a family structure, gun violence can play, the streets can play that and supplement.
Because the streets are raising you.
Exactly.
You turn to the streets.
So parents play a vital role. I think they have to, it's not just sending your child to school, it's being a parent, which encompass, a lot of things, such as a tree with multiple branches.
Okay, so let's touch on.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this. As far as mental health, like a big deal has been made about mental health over the past few years, and how important it is, especially for underserved communities, to make sure that we're paying attention to signs of issues with mental health, because they have so many potential negative ramifications for communities. What part could proper mental health treatment play to put a jolt in sort of the current gun violence epidemic in our communities?
I think it has to play a vital role. Let's put it like this, if I'm blind, I'm not going to go to the DMV, they're going to give me a license to drive a car. You know what I mean? So, the mental aspect of it plays a vital role, because you have to be mentally stable and responsible, as we spoke on earlier, right, to be able to carry a firearm. And unfortunately, when you have these mental disabilities, your rational basis may be screwed. So how can you formulate what's right and what's wrong? And as a result, you see it all the time. They go in and shoot up the Walmarts and shoot up these schools. A lot of these guys who do that, are angry, obviously, but they probably have mental defects. They probably have issues mentally. Which probably has to do with maybe lack of parentship, lack of mom, lack of dad, and things of that nature. So I think it plays a vital role, and I think it's something that the courts, the Supreme Court, I think has been looking at this issue, and I think they need to continue to do such until they find some type of solution.
Yeah, and I tell you, like, I I'm still sort of on the fence with respect to where Missouri gun laws are right now because, we're talking about mental health, and right now it's just so easy for somebody who, especially somebody who has some undiagnosed mental health issues, to get, a firearm. So, like, tell me why I should be comfortable with that.
I don't think. Listen, I want to be comfortable with a guy who's blind driving down the street, right? So I'm gonna tell you, brother, I don't think anyone should be comfortable with that. I think there has to be some type of protocol that's set into place in order to combat, people who have mental issues carrying around firearms. I don't think you should be comfortable. Unfortunately, as it stands today, there are no laws in effect to where I can go, if I had a mental defect, I can go to the local gun shop and get a gun without any type of ramification. So I think there has to be something that needs to be done.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say, Jonathan is an excellent lawyer. He's up and coming. We met, shout out to Celestine Dotson. She's an excellent attorney. We met in her office, and we were kind of like, we hit the ground running with each other. And we always felt like we would eventually be working together. So he's great. He's great. Tell people how they can get in touch with you at your office.
You guys can reach me at, my number is going to be 314-556-3008. Or you can reach me at 314-626-3008. We are located at 7281 Olive Boulevard, and that's in University City, Missouri. I work with some great attorneys. Shout out to Raphael Morris, and shout out to my good friend Justin Trubut.
All right. Well,
thanks for having me.
Jonathan Savage, Law Group, we appreciate you coming in. We're going to stick around for a minute.
We do. And if anybody has any questions they'd like to post on we take questions on our Facebook Live.
All right.
We're going to have them hang around for me.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Trying to take a look at my time since I was out. And then you can just switch over to still, right, because you might want to engage while she's talking.
Okay.
Because we'll make it like that. You know a little bit about politics too. So you keep me around just in case you want to. Nah, look. She be so bad when I be trying to. He know he's going to Jeff City with me. I'm like, that's it. He's smart.
You on jail?
Not just that, to keep me sane too. Sometimes he's like, Teona, no, you can't be okay.
We're good balance.
We're the legal side of me.
like the card, look, the yin and the yang, that's what it is. Yin and yang.
Oh, these, wait a minute.
I put yours in the bag.
Oh, right.
Those are just...
All right, Helen, you are going to be up next when we come back from the break. So get in position. 1 minute. All right, 1 minute, Ella.
Seek money from an insurance company. Auto insurance companies pay billions of dollars in medical claims each year, and they are targeted fraudsters who shop accident victims who may or may not need treatment. They want your insurance information so they can bill for unnecessary visits and treatments that you may never receive. All of this adds up to higher insurance premiums for all of us. Insurance fraud is something you don't want to be involved in. There are ways you can protect yourself. If you're involved in an accident, talk to your insurance company first. Don't provide your insurance or personal information to someone that solicits you or tries to refer you. If you are injured, only deal with legitimate medical professionals and facilities. If you suspect medical fraud, call us at 1-800-TEL-NICB or visit
Tommy, your mama was all up on her. Hi, son. That's so sweet.
National Insurance Crime Bureau.
Really?
See, you turn that
I
off.
got time for it. We're back.
All right, we are back, and we've been talking today about gun violence and issues around gun violence, the law around gun violence. And now we're going to talk about government and where it plays in gun violence. So we're going to bring on someone who is a city legislator in Ferguson, a councilwoman, and maybe address some of what her future might look like. and she'll be instrumental in potentially addressing, some questions that we might have or might have had around gun violence. So we bring on now the Honorable Ella Jones.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ella. Good morning. Thank you for getting up this morning. Thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Ella's she ran for mayor. She is going to run again for mayor of Ferguson. And it was very important for me to have Ella come on the show this time. One, these young men, they live in Ferguson, and I wanted them to meet Ella, and I want them to actively get involved with her campaign. And another thing, last time Ella ran, I worked against her campaign just because there were some things that happened in 2016. And I was holding a little bit of a hot head about that. And so, publicly and right now on the show, I like to put that behind us and just say that definitely.
Look at that.
It has been behind us.
Black love.
Publicly out here just to say, we're going to fight for you, Ella, to get in that seat this time. And we got some guys, and we're going to get them to the polls for you. So.
I ain't want to gossip, but I hear when she's run before, you might have not really supported or kind of maybe y'all was doing it to each other. Just a little bit.
2016, she wasn't with me, but, we'll
But this year in 2020, hopefully you'll take care of my girl T.
You bet.
There we go.
Thank you, Bill. Nothing like a good co-host, huh? Let's get into it.
All right. Well, Ella, let's get right into this. Well, first, before we even get into the questions, give us some thoughts on, what these young men had to say around gun violence and sort of how it's influenced their lives.
They are very honest, and I appreciate that, simply because when they speak, they're speaking to their peers, and they have an opportunity to make a difference in someone else's life. And by them being on the radio station today and being positive and talking about gun violence, but more importantly, when they say, be yourself, that's the number one thing young people need to understand, to be themselves. And when they shared with us about some young men carrying guns to impress girls, I was like, when I was growing up,
take me to the movies.
And if you had a hoopty, we thought we were all in all with you. So, but time has changed, and they are on the cutting edge simply because they recognize that gun violence is not the way to go.
Right.
And they want to be good men. They want to have a good quality of life. So I'm very impressed with that.
Okay.
Well, Ella, the 116th Congress, first session in the House of Representatives, Congressman Lacey Clay and others introduced a bill, H.R. 3435. Now, what's your understanding of that bill? Like, and is it something that the community should be supporting?
Well, my understanding of H.R. 3435 is that Congressman Clay and others got together and they looked at gun violence and they wanted to do something from the hierarchy standpoint, and they introduced H.R. 34, and it's really in short, it's a Local Public Health and Safety Protection Act. And what it is, they want to give local government an opportunity to regulate, in other words, pass laws to regulate this gun violence. And when states do not have these laws in place, you can tell the height of gun violence in the different communities. So this House resolution came up, so they are going to have grants to support the states that really fight against gun violence.
Great.
Okay, so wait, the grants will go to the states, and then the states would decide how that money is sent out
And
To
local
communities, is
communities
that-
will be able to apply for the grants.
Okay, but through the state, the money
Yeah.
would come to the states, and then the different communities would have to apply to the state for those funds.
Right.
Okay.
All right, a wave of gun violence has struck our area and left 17 children, all under the age 16, a young mother dead since early May. What do you think police officers should be doing about the gun violence?
First, I'm heartbroken over the loss of lives of the children and the young mother, and I'm praying for their families because no one wants to go to a funeral and to a child under the age of 16 or any child and see that young person's life has been taken away. So I believe that all citizens must take a proactive approach to gun violence. And when I say a proactive approach, you know you have a gun in your home, buy a gun lock and store that gun in a locked box where a kid won't be able to get to it. You own a gun, why leave it in an unlocked car? For a young person to come, and I know what they're doing in Ferguson. We have a lot of young people that are out in the street at night, and they're testing car doors.
I hear that an overwhelming number of
Yes.
guns that end up being used in various crimes were stolen out of people's cars.
Yes. So you own the gun, lock your door, lock the car door, or take it out the car. Don't leave it there. And then we have to teach our children to value life.
Yes.
Some of our young people, they have such a disregard for life. So we need to encourage them to let them know that life is precious and you can only live one time.
Right.
So having someone's life being taken away from them is no good.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like for us to know about your views on gun violence? You can talk a little bit about what your campaign for mayor will be about. You're running for Ferguson, Ella. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
That is a big deal.
It
You're
is.
going to have a lot on your plate, but you know, if anybody can do it, I saw your work over the last year, and you know, I think you're up for the task.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. One of my points is employment.
Okay.
You want to stop a bullet? Give a man a job.
Right.
Make them too tired.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you want to stop a bullet, give the man a job. And I
Okay.
hold a lot of job fairs simply because if I can work and help you get a job, you're going to live a quality of life. And what that's going to do is that you'll be able to pay your rent. That's going to stabilize our neighborhoods. If you have children, they'll be able to go to school and feel good about themselves. And then we have to support our single parents, head of household. We got to give them some child care, some adequate child care. And in addition to that, they need training also to lift themselves out of poverty. So in addition to that, it becomes essential that we understand that the only way Ferguson or any community is going to survive is that we got to work together.
Right.
We can't have the haves and the have-nots and not try to bridge that gap. We got to close that gap.
Okay.
And that's the only way we're going to make it.
Okay. Well, so now we know what you're going to be doing over the next 5 months, sounds like. So you're going to be busy. But I'm hearing you may have an opponent. Are you expecting? Let me ask. Are you expecting an opponent?
Let me tell you something. Let me share.
I have to rephrase my question.
No.
Listen, I had to rephrase my question because she gave me a funny look like I don't even want to. I'm not saying nobody's name.
Ella does have those looks.
I do have my looks. They tell me, oh, you got
I'm
these
like,
looks.
let me rephrase that.
But let me share something with you. December the 17th is the opening of the filing,
Yes, ma'am.
and January the 17th is the closing of the filing. So at that point, I'll know if I have an opponent.
Wow.
But let me share something with you. I am running because we need public safety.
Mm-hmm.
We need to cut back on some of this crime that we're having. Another reason why I'm running is my senior citizens. They need to feel safe in their homes. A lot of them would like to age in place. They don't want to leave their homes and go someplace else. And in addition to that, my children. We have to catch our children early, and that's early childhood. And more importantly, each community should work to expand Medicaid. We have to do those things. And so that's why I'm running.
Well, run, Ella, run.
Run, Ella, run.
That's what I'm talking about.
Run, Ella, run.
Okay.
So are we close?
Yeah, we getting close to closing out the show here. Definitely want to thank everybody for coming in, being a part of the show.
Thank you
Today,
so
of course,
much.
we've had Camren Arnold. We've had Shelvin Wesley, a couple young people here to talk about issues around gun violence that they have to deal with. We want to thank Jonathan Savage
Thank you,
of Savage Law Group
Jonathan.
for coming in, talking about the legal aspects, and of course, thank the honorable Ella Jones.
Next Mayor Ferguson.
Next Mayor
Ferguson.
Run, Ella, run.
Speak it.
And
Run,
again,
Ella, run.
we want to thank Paul Berry and the great folks here at WGNU 920 AM for putting up with us for one more week.
Again, we'd like to thank our listeners for tuning in. We're going to continue to whine about the region because we care. If you have any ideas or people to interview or interested in advertising or sponsoring the show, message us at Facebook or email us at btwinery.com. And coming soon, we've been asked to go on for 2 hours now, so we are doing a good job.
I guess
great.
so.
Coming soon, you'll get a little bit more of us.
All right, and we are the only solution to improve our own community. Thank you.
We're out. All right.